80% of it is concentrated in Lumberton, and they've got all the new businesses going up. That part of 69 now looks like 1960. You know, we've got all these little businesses going up everywhere in Lumberton, but there's nothing after that. I mean, you go north, west, east of Lumberton, and I'm just not seeing anything. I see a lot of filth, trash. Over in the west end of the county.
Well, I'm sure they use the stimulus dollars to build the infrastructure to attract businesses, right?
Well, that was what I was looking for, you know. And foolishly, I'm not. Our county commissioners want what's best for the county. I'm sure. I mean, they're not bad guys, but I do think that there is a disparity in the way the money is spent, because we have a Commissioner Pelt is Commissioner Precinct 3, and that's over in the Sour Lake area, and the more western part of the county. There's one part of his district that is absolutely incredible. In the last election cycle, I delivered election supplies and drove all over, made our whole county, and I was amazed. And also some parts of his district is in our Lumberton area. I was amazed at the roads. You know, I just could see a lot of money there that had been spent to, you know, maintain their roads and things like that. And then the little city of Sour Lake, I think, has benefited from some of that too. Well, I'm in the Kuntz School District, so Kuntz is important to me and what goes on in Kuntz. I know some of the I just don't see the money, and this may be totally ignorance on my part, being spent in a fair manner, whatever money it is. And it was also spent by our commissioners and our elected officials that switched from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party because they hate the federal government. The federal government is no good, you know. And I'm seeing all these figures in black and white, and I'm like, what's going on there? And then one of our candidates...
So they got into government because they hate government.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean,
now,
you can see a difference in where money's being spent and where it's not. Because I'll give you an example. On my trip to Austin, I take Highway 71. As soon as I hit Fayette County, that road turns to garbage. I mean, it's bump, 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 bump. And I'm like, who's your state rep and where are y'all? Because if you look on 71, you'll see Fayetteville 3 miles off of 71 down this way next to the power plant. And I'm sitting there going, okay, there's not a lot in there. There's a power plant and there's a lot of pasture and a lot of nothing. But, I mean, small government, you can tell when they're using their money wisely and when they're not, and who's not screaming loud enough. And
well, I think, Mary, that I would be very surprised if a lot of that money, that particular group of money, didn't go into providing Kuntz with state-of-the-art police stuff, equipment to give you a ticket. Now they can take your picture and things like that. When the roads and things within the city limits, Kuntz is in Commissioner's Precinct 3 also. We have, you know, it just, I mean, I'm just not seeing any visible signs. Our African-American community in Silsbee, they are represented. We have several African-American people on the city council in Silsbee, and they are very active. They're engaged, and they care about their community. But I just don't think they're getting any help from their commissioner. And that's where I'd like to know if the money, you know, where the money, how it's being spent, not to accuse anybody of anything.
Mary, you're about to blow up on
County is on the edge of their
Okay. Well, I've done some jobs with stimulus money. Okay. Go to, I believe it's stimulus.gov or stimulus.org, and it lists every penny.
It does. That's where I got the information.
Yeah, and it's supposed to break it down what the county has spent on it. It's supposed to.
And I can't repeat those facts right now, but I do have some of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of it did go into law enforcement. You know, things for law enforcement.
So you just wanted them to confirm what they did.
Well, you know, I know how things really work. I worked there for a long time. I worked at the courthouse for a long time.
You're a taxpaying citizen of this country, and you have a right to know where public money is.
And don't say, I have yet to hear a county commissioner say in their campaign statement that I'm going to work for the betterment of this community. I'm going to make sure that our legislatures are being held accountable to provide education incentives and things like that. I don't hear any of that conversation. So
they're not seeking the position or the job.
They're
for that
seeking
reason?
the position based on the fact that their name, their church affiliation, they're Christians, which is wonderful. So am I. And that's it. There's no discussion of what they want to do for their particular constituents in their area. I just don't ever hear that. We don't have politics.
You know what a politician does? Career politicians. First thing they do is they look at the ballot box. They go and get copies of how the voting went.
Exactly.
It all comes back to voting. But if there's a low turnout of people over in this area, regardless.
They can ignore them.
Regardless, it doesn't matter what ethnic group you are.
They're not going to be able to ignore our precinct 10 too much longer, I can tell you that.
And people don't realize it always comes back to that vote.
It does.
When a large turnout, which we saw in the last presidential election, and those politicians in the city of Orange, they saw that, and I'll tell you what, those old houses start coming down, and new houses start being built and everything, because
all about visibility.
The minority population really filled up the ballot that time. But this is one of the things that keep people from getting. They get counted whenever they're applying to the county. I mean to the federal government for the money. Oh yeah, he come and make sure you get an accurate count of you to get more money. But when the money comes back down, it's let's put it over here and let's give to Jack and John and
do you know why people don't have this discussion? I mean, you've seen how difficult it is for us to dive down at the local level because they are nonpartisan. They are positions where they don't have to declare a party or their philosophy or how they believe things should be done. Therefore, it's difficult. But whenever you look at the councils and you profile them, we know. If I had to say, Orange is predominantly run by folks that are leaning toward a Democrat or Republican Party, I'm going to say that they lean toward the Republican Party. Because the folks that are elected are primarily whenever they vote, because you can go out, I mean, that's public record. You don't know how they voted, who they voted for, but you can see what party affiliation they are.
Well, they analyze the demographics.
But it's a very tough conversation to have, but it's important for people to realize that their philosophy and their thought process is driven by, I mean, if they're Republican, I guarantee you they're watching Fox News. That's
my mother has that channel safety lock.
That's where they get their information, and that's how they view the rest of us.
We talk about educational issues all the time.
I want to get back into education.
And that's a perfect example of an area
so kind of we went down at the very local level and how that affects and how the money gets moved around. And Henry made an excellent point on whether it's a school board race, a city race, a county race, a state, even your representation from the state. Whenever they look at that ballot box, they can determine who they've got to pay attention to and who they can ignore.
We do not ask. When I say we, I'm talking about in my county, because that's my framework of reference. And we have never, since I've been living in that area, which is many, many years, we don't ask anything of our government officials. Our elected officials, we don't ask anything of them. We don't ask them questions like, well, what are you going to do for, what are you going to do for this area? Or what are you going to do about this issue? We do not ask. So I don't know what they believe or how they are going to govern. I have no earthly idea.
That's why they were so shocked when you asked this. When you asked for the information that you asked them for, what? You don't question.
The first thing was paranoia.
Well,
why did she want this information? Why is she asking for this?
You mean to tell me somebody asking where we spend the money?
And then I thought, oh my God, is that black Cadillac? What's those Cadillac things?
Escalades
that comes down my road all the time. Are they trying to find out where I live or something? You know, we put a game camera out on our post because here's what happened to me after the 2010 election. And I got some emails from some of my election workers. I began sending emails and things that were important to me in an area of legislation, and I got one really ugly phone call, almost like it was very threatening, and that kind of gets me going, you know, whenever people do that to me. But the second phone call was, please take me off of your email contact. I don't want to receive any information about Democrats or Barack Obama or anything like that. Well, this is on a message when I got home one day. So I called this person back and I talked with her, and the subject came up about, at that time Glenn Beck was at the height of his hypocrisy.
Before he imploded.
Yeah, and she made the comment. Well, she loved Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck, but that's where she got her news from. And at that point in time, I just thought, I really felt sorry for her. But I was really taken aback by the response. If I'm the county judge, do call me back and say, Vicki, if you'll make up a list of what you want, I'll try to supply you with that. And but it's these secretaries they have that are like, what? Oh, let's see. No, you need to go to this person. No, you need to call that. I'm like, ooh, I won't go there again. But here's the point I'm trying to make, and then I'll shut up. Is that when
we don't want you to shut up.
When we talk about how on the national level, and then how does that affect us at the local level? It affects us hugely. It really and truly does, because our sheriff might say when he switched parties, it doesn't really matter which. I'm going to be the same I've always been. He switched the Republican Party, so I'm like, do you think that people are that stupid? I believe in the Democratic Party. I believe in the overall policies and platform of the Democratic Party. So I want to support and elect candidates that support those issues. So we had a full sweep of beliefs and values deal. I mean, it was
Mark likes to say, they went to bed a Democrat and they woke up a Republican.
Like this summit, they had this summit, and they all switched to the Republican Party based on their beliefs and values. Some of them even indicated that one of our constables over in the west end of the county, he apparently must have read the party platform, because he mentioned that word. The party platform fits me better than, and most people in Hardin County don't have two nickels to rub together. We just try to work every day, but we've had this infusion of money and influence coming from other counties that move into Lumberton because they don't have to pay any city taxes. But what I want to hear from my commissioner, because they're going to vote for the party that they represent. They're going to vote for that legislature. They're going to vote for that congressman. They're going to vote for that senator. And what we have now is congressmen, senators, and legislatures that don't believe in public education. We have a governor that had dedicated a whole week to school choice. So when my county commissioner is Republican, he is going to support the Republican Party.